and good evening. This is Grillenheimer. Thanks for joining me once again. Yeah, I've still got my glasses on. I took my hat off. But this is our second and only video concerning the haunting of Hill House. Yes, I know it's outside the Bible, but I did watch the show before Christmas and really enjoyed it for what it is. I like a good ghost story, okay? Now, a few things. Now, the first video, I pulled a little bit out of it, how us guys, we need to be able to step up to the plate and be able to fix things or learn to fix things. And I was even talking to myself in that same respect, you know. And we just, bite the bullet, bite our tongue, get things done when things need to get done, because your marriage is a working relationship, just like our loving relationship with our Lord and Father, Jesus Christ. It's always ongoing. We have to work at it. So if laundry has to get done, laundry has to get done. If the yard work needs to get done, yard work needs to get done if it's not raining. If the kids need to be fed, the kids need to be fed. If trash needs to be put out, and if someone's not stepping up to the plate, if you got the guts to do it, say something. If not, just get it done, because actions do speak louder than words. So someone's going to notice. So just keep at it, keep up the good fight, and do the good work. Because we were born to work. Now, in that regard, going beyond just the Hugh Crain character, the Hill House cast was just phenomenal. The actors, the characters, everything they did was really well done. I won't complain about it. I'm just going to... Now, there's 7 main characters. The family, basically. Stephen, Shirley, Theo, Luke, Nell, Hugh, and Olivia. Now, they all pretty much represent various aspects. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube that people are like, they're the stages of grief, they're the 7 sins, etc., etc. Well, I'm going to use them for the 7 sins for the sake of this video, and then we're going to move on to something else. How Stephen is greed, because he was selling the book for money. He made a lot of money from the book. And then, what happened there. Shirley and Theo could be swapped easily either way. They were both constantly angry and wrathful, so either one of them could be wrath. Theo was a lesbian, so she could have been lust as well, but Shirley could also be lust also, because she had that affair with that other man. I'm spoiling things here, by the way. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen all 10 episodes and you have Netflix, go watch it. It's a really good show. It is rated MA for good reason. But it's not a real horror show. It's not the normal horror genre. It's very atmospheric. It's a little slow. They're going back and forth from past into the present, etc., to really help build up and explain not just the characters, but the progression of the story, which is done very well. And then Nell can be basically sloth, laziness, especially after what happens to her husband. Hugh, it was pretty much pride, because he was always, proudful and fixing things, because that's what they were really ongoing doing, was flipping houses. This was going to be their biggest flip, and they were going to make the most money, and they were going to keep going. That didn't happen. But that's how the whole story starts. Olivia was pretty much envy. She envied her kids. She envied her time with them, and the ghosts taunted her with that and used that to their advantage for the house's advantage. Like I said, spoiler alert. The house is alive. The house feeds on the people that are there. The house is taking taken many people throughout the years, as far as we know. The last episode and throughout the show is obvious of that. Look for all little ghost cameos in the background. And they're not doing anything. They're just standing there, sitting there, looking there. And it's kind of creepy. I like it. It's a Where's Waldo kind of effect in a ghost story, in a ghost show, which makes some people wonder, is the house feminine? The house uses mainly the feminine ghost spirits to affect most of the other people, except for maybe one, which was the bowler hat guy. I won't spoil his name or who that was. Now, let's see here. And since the house has a heart and it's wanting to feed and suck them in, it's almost in a sense very feminine-like as well. Now, this whole family, when they were kids, they were cute, they were great. They really looked up to their parents, like all kids should do. And of course, when one of the past, one of the kids curses. I think that she says the Lord's name in vain, and they're coming down the stairs. I think the chandelier had fallen or something like that. And no, that hadn't happened yet. I'm sorry, wrong episode. But they're coming downstairs, and she says the Lord's name in vain. The mother gets on to her for cursing, and she's like, "Well, I hear you say it." So again, we have to guard what we say around youngins. So, yes, I'm Southern. Youngins. Now, and that's another part of this. I think that's what the director and writer was. I don't know if he's Christian or not. Probably not. But there's so many elements in this story that really merged together very well in a way that almost illustrates the non-Christian lifestyle, worldly lifestyle, and how it affects us. Thus, why I went through the 7 deadly sins through all 7 cast members, characters. And with that, they are lacking most good families should have. And number one is God. They're lacking God completely. They had knowledge of that. They knew the Bible. They knew the Quran. They knew all these other religions. Apparently, they knew the Greek mythology. They knew the great thinkers. Remember, there's an episode when the mother is talking to Miss Dudley about, they've studied all that. Blah, 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 blah. It's just mythology. Well, apparently they knew the Bible, but they didn't believe in it. They didn't act on it. They didn't walk in it. And then, so they all were lacking faith. They were lacking faith. They were lacking, whoa, hello, I'm not moving. They were lacking God, and they were lacking faith. And they were lacking faith in each other, being able to lean on each other, which we see was after they grew up into adults for the present day scenes. Now, which was just really hard and sad to watch. As a result of them not able to really lean on each other so much, is that they also, it seemed to me, and it was really hard to read into this because they focused so much on these characters so much, that they didn't have much of a social life, any of them, really. Olivia didn't have a chance. Hugh became a recluse. Stephen did get married, but he didn't want a family. Shirley found somebody, and she did have a family. Ended up having a family. Theo, obviously, didn't really seem to be going anywhere. She was looking for one-night stands, pretty much. Then by the end, that did turn more than just a one-night stand, but if you can call it that. Luke Um, Luke was a very interesting character. And I think a lot of people had a hard time watching his story. A lot of people, I believe, were able to connect with his story that do have addictions. I think his story was very key, and him and Nell both were the glue. They were the youngest characters, and the twins of the kids as well. And let me just keep going. My mind is just thinking. This is the second time I've tried this, and my mind is just on a roller coaster right now. And because they were lacking God, they were lacking faith, they were lacking each other. Remember, they were living in all sorts of different areas. They were nowhere near the house. They were nowhere near their dad. They didn't have a social life, and whenever they got mad, they didn't trust each other. They cursed at each other almost constantly. When they ever came together, they got angry. Words flew. F-bombs everywhere. And that's one of the major points that made this series rated MA, on top of a couple other little sayings that are hardly even worth mentioning. So who tried to really get to stop them from cursing? Now, just a few videos ago, I even mentioned how, how we need to watch our mouth. And there's no one stopping us from guarding our mouth. But as Christians, through Jesus, through God, we have to learn to do that. So he is wanting us to guard our mouth. In the show, who was it? The ghosts. And Nell, once she became a ghost. Think about that. I think there's a little truth in that, especially in the famous jump scare scene that I'm not even telling you what episode it's in. I knew it was coming. I had spoiled it for myself to some extent. I got so into watching it, I forgot about it, and I jumped out of my couch. I was laughing at myself. I jumped so high. Oh, my gosh. But Nell gets their attention. The ghosts get their attention. And in even the episode, I think before that, there's like, they were at the funeral home, and she started kind of cursing to some extent, and the banging got louder and louder and louder, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. She didn't have much to say after that. I don't remember her really cursing or saying anything after it finally stopped. I could be wrong. I'd have to rewatch it again. It's been a while since I've seen it. Now, it's a really good show. It's a fun watch. Sort of let my 10-year-old, he's going on 11 now, 10-year-old watch this only because he was at home. I went through the series fairly slow. I didn't have a lot of time to watch it. My wife was into watching something else, so I had to watch this whenever I happened to have the TV, which wasn't very often. And she didn't want to watch it, and so she'd go to bed. I'd stay up watching an episode of Hill House. Well, I was at home with the kids alone, maybe my son alone, and I'm thinking, I only have one episode left. Let me go ahead and watch episode 10. And I finally did. Well, he was in his own room, and he was watching some of it from in there with me. So he kind of had an idea what was kind of happening. He learned a few things, and he knew it had a good ending. Spoiler alert, good ending. That not many people like, but I really enjoyed it. I really did. I liked how it ended. I saw the alternate ending, and I'm kind of glad they didn't do it that way. But and because he saw a little bit of the last episode, he wanted to see the whole thing. I'm like, okay, well, he was okay with Krampus, and he's seen like Christmas Vacation and some other stuff, and he's familiar with curse words, unfortunately. So I went through and watched it with him. I tried to hit mute when I could. You know, if he knows the word, he knows the word. He should know not to say things like that. And we skipped a few scenes. But he really enjoyed, and he saw one episode without me, and I wasn't happy about that, which was episode 7. Oops. Hey, don't watch this without me, okay? It's rated MA. And I've seen it before you have. But he finally got through it all. He really enjoyed it. He really enjoyed it. Now, and because we're dealing with family, and we, as a family, we really just, and when your kids are teenagers, you can lose their trust. And it's just a testing period for us as parents, and for your teen as well as for the era that we're living in, is a lot different from when I was even their age and in school. It's not that much different, but it is. We had, drug dogs going through sniffing at lockers, and we a few years, my last few years, and we couldn't leave our rooms at the time, and we knew what was going on, and yada yada. But we never had bomb threats or anything crazy like that, or anyone trying to come in with guns and whatnot. But a little more freedom. The school board and the teachers and the principals had a little more trust in their own students. And I did notice through a period in the mid-90s, that's when they started putting less trust in their students because of a few things that were happening nationwide that just put the fear into everybody of teenagers. And I'm thinking, when you start fearing your own students, this is all going to fall apart. And it has, and that's where, to me, it stemmed from. And I've gotten completely off topic. Let's get back to Hill House. Joshua. Let's go to Joshua 24, verse 15. Choosing who to serve. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And really, this short little verse is an inference into not serving other gods, only serving the one God, the Lord Almighty. We will, under this roof, we serve the Lord, and no other idols before Him, no other gods. And that we as fathers, we need to be trying to teach our kids this stuff if our schools are not going to do it. I guess I'll read this one. I have Genesis 18, verse 19. This was after the Lord and the angels visited Abraham and Sarah, that he may command his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing righteousness and justice, in order that the Lord may bring upon Abraham what he has spoken about him. And basically, that how the father should be in command of his house and his children. But in the same time, Jesus also taught us that as men, we need to, be submissive to our wives and serve our wives, and our wives need to be submissive and serve us. It goes both ways, guys. You got me? So you just can't yell at your significant other and expect them to jump. They can do the same thing to you. You both have to listen as a couple. And so many families are missing that. Uh, Isaiah 54:13. And all your sons will be taught of the Lord, and the well-being of your sons will be great. Sorry, I'm looking down. I'm got my cheat notes right here. And all your sons will be taught of the Lord, and the well-being of your sons will be great. Now, we can then add daughters in here for all I care. And this is coming from Isaiah. That we need to be teaching the Word of God to our kids, whether they like it or not. Something eventually will stick. And I'm trying not to talk about my personal life on here, but at the same time, I have prayed and prayed and prayed for a certain person, and the Lord pretty much impressed upon me that I just need to be patient, pretty much. And I've left it in His hands. I have prayed and prayed about this person, and I'm like, okay, Father, it is in your hands, And another thing we have to do is that I have been brash and defensive in my comments, which sometimes I've just had to be. I have said things that I wish I could retract and pull back, We have to be tactful and creative in trying to get our kids to do some critical thinking. And I don't know if I've mentioned this here before, how, Benjamin Franklin even once said, if everyone is thinking the same thing, no one is really thinking. I think that's verbatim, but I'm not sure. So if they're thinking the cookie cutter thinking of the left or Democrats, politics, and those people all think the same thing, and they have all built up all these labels, all these stereotypes, and separation of classes, separation of color, separation of races, separation of put in the label. And those of us that don't want to be that way or don't want to vote that way do not think that way. 90% of us at least, or 75% of us at least. I can't talk for everybody. I can't be that general about Republicans and conservatives. But I have noticed how there's a huge, a lot of interesting politics that are going on for the past 2 years, ever since 2016. It's been a really interesting time. It's not been that bad of a time, per se, as some people have made it out to be. Now, I just want to leave y'all with that. When you watch Hill House, think of it from more of a Christian perspective. I didn't get into the Dudleys. I just ran out of time. I'm so sorry. But they weren't made fun of. They weren't impugned. They weren't comedy or anything crazy like that. They were just shown as strict parents. And by the end of it, we understood why they were being strict as parents to their child. Try not to spoil anything as much as I have. But thank you for watching. Just when you watch this series or you watch it again, and if you're a Christian, just think of it from a different perspective and see what you think about it. And next time we will be getting